Imagine this for a moment. You've spent your entire life working, giving your best years to your family, your job, and your community. And then one day, you wake up and realize retirement is here. But instead of peace, instead of freedom, you feel worry, you feel uncertainty, you feel like time is slipping too fast. Now, let me say something very direct. There's a secret that only 1% of seniors know about retirement, and it changes everything. But here's the truth. You're not going to hear it at the bank, you're not going to hear it from Wall Street, and you're definitely not going to hear it on the evening news. I'll share it with you later in this talk, but before I do, you need to understand why most seniors never even come close to discovering it. So let me ask you, what city are you listening from right now? Type it down in the comments. I want to see where this community is growing. Because what we're talking about today, it's not just for one town or one person. It's for every senior across America, Canada, Europe, and beyond. And before we go deeper, if you haven't already, hit the like button and subscribe. Not just because it helps this message reach more people like you, but because you're investing in yourself by staying connected to ideas that could change your future. Now, here's the problem I see. Too many seniors believe retirement is the end of contribution, the end of growth, the end of purpose. They think, I've reached this age, my best days are behind me. That's the lie. And it's a dangerous one, because if you believe your future has no expansion, you cut off the very energy that keeps you alive. Here's something I've said many times publicly. When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor. And that applies to you right now. Retirement is not about sitting still. It's about leaning into the odds, no matter what age you are, and finding what matters enough for you to keep moving forward. Now, let me tell you about a man named Walter from Ohio. Walter turned 72 with only a modest pension, no large savings, and a heart full of regret. He thought he was finished. But instead of giving in, he asked himself a simple question: what can I create even now? He started teaching young people woodworking from his garage. That one decision didn't just give him extra income, it gave him community, health, and purpose. His life expectancy literally increased because he refused to sit still. And here's the interesting part. Science backs this up. Studies from Harvard and Stanford have shown that seniors who stay engaged, who set new goals and routines, actually add years to their lives. Not months, years. Imagine that. Your choices today can literally rewrite how long and how well you live. That's why I always recommend creating a daily system. If you don't have one, use something simple like a 31-day daily high-impact planner. Don't think of it as a notebook. Think of it as a map that organizes your days so you don't drift. It keeps your mind sharp, it keeps your time intentional, and it turns every day into progress. Because drifting through retirement is one of the fastest ways to feel old before your time. But let me pause here and ask you something important. What do you believe about your own future? Do you believe your future is expandable, or do you believe it's shrinking? Answer that honestly, because how you answer it will shape the rest of your years. Now, let's ground this even deeper. You see, America has millions of seniors struggling with the same thoughts you may have had. I don't have enough savings. It's too late to start something new. My best years are behind me. But let me tell you directly, those are not facts, those are beliefs. And beliefs can be changed. One of the most powerful shifts you can make is this: stop measuring your life in terms of what you don't have, and start measuring it by what you can give and create with the time you do have. Prayer helps here too. Many seniors I've spoken to have told me that when they begin their mornings with prayer, gratitude, and focus, everything else flows differently. Because prayer aligns you with something greater, it reminds you that your life still matters to God, and that you still have a calling no matter your age. And here's the truth. The retirement secret only 1% of seniors know begins with changing how you see your role in life after 60. I'll share the full details later. But I want you to hold on to this idea. Retirement is not the end. It is the greatest reinvention season of your life, if you dare to believe it. Stay with me, because what comes next is going to challenge you to step into a version of yourself you might have thought was gone forever. Let's go deeper into this, because right now you might be thinking, I understand what you're saying, but what does that actually mean for me? I'm not trying to start a company. I'm not trying to be the next great inventor. I just want peace, dignity, and to live without fear of running out of time or money. And that's exactly why you must hear this. Retirement is not about money first. It's about energy, direction, and purpose. When I build rockets, cars, or solar energy systems, yes, we talk about numbers, technology, and logistics. But the real question we ask every single day is this: where is the energy flowing? Because if the energy is weak, the mission fails. If the energy is strong, nothing can stop it. And the same applies to your life right now. Your retirement cannot be led by fear. It cannot be led by scarcity. It has to be led by energy, your energy. Let me give you an example. A woman named Margaret, age 68, from Arizona, once shared something fascinating. She said, "The day I retired, I felt invisible. My children were grown, my career was behind me, and nobody needed me anymore." Do you know how painful that is? To feel like the world doesn't see you? But here's what happened. Instead of letting that invisibility consume her, Margaret began volunteering once a week at a local hospital. She discovered that every patient she comforted, every young nurse she encouraged, gave her a sense of meaning. She thought she'd lost forever. Her energy returned. Her depression faded. Her health even improved. This is the lesson. Your role may change with age, but your value never disappears. Now, here's where many seniors go wrong. They think retirement is a time to withdraw completely, to stop learning, to stop growing, to stop dreaming. And when you stop growing, you begin shrinking, not just emotionally, but physically. The body and the mind are connected. A purpose-filled life literally keeps your brain sharper and your body stronger. So let me ask you a question. What have you stopped yourself from doing just because you believed you were too old? Was it painting? Starting a small side business? Learning technology to connect better with family? Write it down, say it out loud, share it in the comments if you're willing, because identifying that one thing could be the beginning of your next breakthrough. You see, one of the things I've said publicly many times is this. I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary, and that choice is not limited by age. The extraordinary life at 70 or 80 doesn't look like the extraordinary life at 30. It looks richer, deeper, and often more meaningful. Now, I want to introduce a simple framework that helps seniors avoid the trap of drifting. It's 3 words: focus, contribution, and renewal. For focus, every day, decide what your mind will focus on. Use a planner, even something as simple as that 31-day daily high-impact planner I mentioned earlier. It's not about filling your day with noise. It's about giving yourself clarity, so when you wake up in the morning, you don't wonder, what now? Instead, you know exactly what matters today. For contribution, ask yourself, who can I serve today? It could be your neighbor, your church, your grandchildren, or even an online community. When you contribute, you tap into an endless source of energy, because nothing recharges the human spirit more than giving. For renewal, this is about your health, physical, mental, and spiritual. Pray daily, meditate, walk outside, eat well. Seniors who invest in renewal don't just extend their years, they expand the quality of those years. And here's something you may not have considered. You don't need a massive financial portfolio to feel wealthy in retirement. You need energy, purpose, and a clear system for your days. That's the kind of wealth that money alone cannot buy. I know some of you may be wondering, but what about the money? Isn't that the whole point of retirement planning? And yes, money matters. But here's the paradox. If you focus on energy, contribution, and renewal first, your relationship with money changes completely. You start finding opportunities you couldn't see before. You start realizing that some of the best rewards don't cost anything. And eventually, you begin to discover the retirement secret that only 1% know. But not yet. Because if I told you the secret now, you'd miss the foundation that makes it work. So here's my question to you. What would your life look like if you gave just one more chapter everything you had left? What if you didn't retire from life, but reimagined it? Stay with me, because what I'm about to share next will completely shift the way you see this entire season of your life. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you felt excited about the future? Not just curious, not just hopeful, but genuinely excited. Think about that for a moment, because for many seniors, the truth is, it's been years, too many years. And yet, here's the reality. Excitement isn't limited to the young. Excitement belongs to the alive. And you are still alive, which means your future can still expand. Now, here's why most people never see this clearly. They confuse age with limitation. But what I want you to understand is this. Age is not a limit. Age is a lens. It's the way you look at your opportunities. If you look through the lens of limitation, you'll only see what's shrinking. Your body, your time, maybe even your bank account. But if you look through the lens of wisdom, you'll see what's growing. Your perspective, your capacity to focus on what truly matters, your ability to influence people around you. Let me illustrate this with a story. There's a man named Robert, 75 years old, living in Florida. After he retired from teaching, he spent 2 years in front of the television, day after day, sinking deeper into isolation. His doctor warned him, "Robert, if you keep living like this, your health will deteriorate rapidly." One morning, Robert decided to attend a community center class on digital technology. At first, he felt out of place, but slowly he began helping others his age learn the basics. That one step reawakened his sense of purpose. Within a year, Robert was running small workshops, teaching seniors how to use smartphones and connect with their families online. His doctor was stunned, his health markers improved, his mind became sharper, and he was happier than he'd been in years. That transformation didn't require millions of dollars. It required perspective. This is why I tell you, retirement is not a retreat, it is an evolution. And I want to challenge you with something today. Write this question down somewhere you can see it daily. What can I evolve into this season? Because here's what happens. When you ask the right questions, you open new doors. Seniors who continue to ask meaningful questions live longer, healthier, and more fulfilled lives. Now let's talk about something very practical. Decision making. Most seniors I meet feel overwhelmed because they think every decision has to be perfect. But perfection is the enemy of progress. You don't need perfect, you need momentum. When I was building SpaceX, many people told me, "This is impossible. Rockets fail. The odds are against you." And yes, they were right. Rockets do fail. But what mattered was not avoiding every mistake. What mattered was building enough momentum to eventually break through. The same principle applies here. You don't need every day to be perfect. You just need to keep momentum in the right direction. So here's a practical way to build that momentum. Set one meaningful, achievable goal every 24 hours. Not 10, not 5, just one. Maybe it's walking for 20 minutes. Maybe it's calling your granddaughter. Maybe it's starting a new prayer routine. Over time, these small wins compound into massive changes. And seniors, let me tell you this. You are never too old to reinvent yourself. Do you know the average age of a successful entrepreneur in America? It's not 25. It's not 30. It's actually around 45 to 50. And many who start later, in their 60s and beyond, build businesses, charities, and initiatives that impact generations. Why? Because wisdom and experience are assets that youth simply cannot buy. Now, let me ask you another question. Imagine your life 12 months from today. If you stayed exactly the same as you are right now, would you be happy, or would you feel regret? Be honest with yourself, because here's the truth. Regret is the heaviest burden in retirement. Not money, not time, but regret. And the only way to avoid regret is to choose action today, even if the action is small. Prayer helps here too. When you pray, you don't just speak words. You align yourself with courage, with clarity, with God's direction. Prayer opens a kind of inner fuel that keeps you steady when doubt tries to weaken you. And let me leave you with this thought. The retirement secret only 1% of seniors know is not about fear, it is about freedom. But before I give it to you, you must prepare yourself to actually receive it. Because if you hear it without preparation, you'll dismiss it as too simple. If you hear it with the right mindset, it will change the rest of your life. So stay with me, because in a moment I will tell you exactly what that secret is. And once you hear it, you will never see retirement the same way again. We've talked about purpose, momentum, and perspective. And I promised you something, the retirement secret that only 1% of seniors know. Here it is. Retirement is not an ending. It is a platform. The 1% of seniors who thrive know this. Your later years are not meant for withdrawal, they are meant for reinvestment. Not reinvestment of money alone, but of wisdom, time, and energy into something greater than yourself. Think about it. All the decades you've lived, every lesson you've learned, every hardship you've overcome, those are not wasted, they are capital. Just like money in a bank account, your experience has stored up wealth. But here's the problem. Most seniors never cash it in. They lock it away. They sit on it. They let it fade. The 1%? They withdraw from that wealth daily and reinvest it into people, projects, communities, and even new skills. That's why their retirement feels alive, while most others feel like it's shrinking. Let me make this even more concrete. A 70-year-old man in Texas started mentoring teenagers who had no fathers in their lives. He met with them twice a week, teaching them how to handle responsibility, honesty, and discipline. Those young men grew into successful adults because of his influence. That senior didn't just pass time, he created legacy. A 67-year-old woman in New York began baking bread not for income, but for neighbors. Within a year, her kitchen became the center of her block. People came for bread, but left with encouragement, with community, with hope. She turned retirement into connection. These are not isolated stories. They are the proof that retirement can either be a slow fade or a powerful reinvestment. Now, here's the part most people miss. When you reinvest yourself in others, you not only give them life, you give yourself life. Your energy rises, your health improves, your days feel meaningful, and your evenings feel earned. That is the secret. And yes, prayer is a part of this, because prayer doesn't just keep you connected to God, it reminds you daily that your breath has purpose. It keeps your soul active when the world says, slow down. So let me challenge you today with 3 direct steps. 1, choose your platform. Ask yourself, where can I reinvest my wisdom? It might be your grandchildren, your church, your community, or even online platforms where seniors are teaching and inspiring others worldwide. Your platform doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. 2, create your rhythm. Don't drift through your days. Set a rhythm. Use a simple planner, even the 31-day daily high-impact planner I mentioned before, to keep yourself on track. Block time for contribution, for renewal, for connection. Because when your days have rhythm, your life has harmony. 3, pass it forward. Legacy is not built by what you keep. It's built by what you give. Teach what you know. Share what you've learned. Pray for those you love. The act of passing it forward ensures that your years continue echoing long after you're gone. And let me say this with absolute clarity. You do not need perfect health. You do not need vast savings. And you do not need endless time to do this. You only need today. Seniors, your best contribution can still be ahead of you. Your influence can still grow. And your joy can still multiply. But it starts with a decision. Will you treat retirement as the end of your story or as the beginning of a new platform? Take a moment right now and comment below, what platform will you choose? Who will you reinvest in? Share it, because once you write it down, you've already taken the first step toward making it real. And if you're still watching, staying with me this long means you're not like most people. You're not satisfied with drifting. You're ready for more. And that already puts you in the top 10%.